We like to start every episode with the disclaimer that we are not professionals. Our conversations are solely based on our personal experiences, thoughts, and opinions. Nothing discussed here is meant to be taken as professional mental health or medical advice. If you have questions or need assistance, please seek the help of a licensed professional.
Discussions in this podcast may sometimes revolve around heavy material such as abuse, grooming, religious trauma, and more. Please listen with caution and prioritize your mental health first.
Welcome to Trauma Bondage,
the podcast where we talk about trauma, kinks, and non-traditional lifestyles and relationships from a queer lens.
We're your hosts,
Brigitte
and Beth.
Hey guys.
Hi, we're back to talk about toxic and tumultuous relationships that we've had with friends,
exes, and boy, do we have some tea.
Yeah,
Detox tea. You may have caught onto some stuff from months prior that was going down. So
if anybody followed the story of Bagel Bitch on
Today's the day,
me and my wife's social media,
today's the day.
We're going to be talking about her and some other people.
Some other
bagel bitches.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There's a lot to get through, and we're going to be keeping it as high level as we can to protect anonymity and privacy of
all
other friends involved and all parties included. But we do want to give you guys the tea, and it is piping hot.
And what's funny is that a lot of it kind of like weaves itself together, both like mine and hers. So you know what? The lesbian community is just too fucking small.
We literally could draw you guys like a chart, like Alice's chart.
Full on L word.
I
need to make one.
With just the people involved in these stories.
Unreal.
Like, we have all fucked and fought. Like, it's just
talking, fighting, laughing, cheating.
Welcome to lesbianism.
This is the way.
The way.
Insert L word intro here.
Oh my God, I just literally forgot the song. I'm not a good gay. Anyways, do you want me to kick it off?
Kick it off.
Okay.
Kick it off.
We can kind of like both chime in on these things because again, our stories are interwoven.
Yeah, there is no one or the other.
There's no one or the other.
Together.
No. Okay, so I'll kick it off with I'll start with like a little backstory on X, and then I'll get to friends.
Yes.
Because everybody needs to know. And some of you guys know me, so you're going to know who I'm talking about. And for the people that don't, it doesn't matter.
Just enjoy.
Enjoy the ride. This is basically like the real lesbian housewives of Dallas. And if we had a reality TV show, that shit would have popped off in 2024 because
I feel like
lots of things happen.
Sure. I would also just like be sitting in the corner eating graham crackers like a little rat. So
yeah, I was wishing that I could have been doing that during all this, but no, I was right in the middle of it. So flashback to fast forward is really what I wanted to do when all this was happening. Flashback, I had an ex of 5 years that I ended a relationship with in 2022.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And this person and I ended on good terms, and they moved to Colorado. At the time, I had two friends who were in a friend group that we kind of created together. One of them was somebody that I became friends with through a mutual friend. And this mutual friend and her had a falling out, so they were no longer friends, and I never really knew what happened. I never asked. I kind of just like stayed out of it. Mistake. Should have asked. Should have gotten the backstory on that. We learned some lessons. Mm-hmm. And then the other friend involved, I'm just going to call them Bagel Bitch and Pinky.
Oh, I like that.
So Pinky and I were friends first. And Bagel Bitch and her had been friends for quite a while, but in more of a professional setting. Mm-hmm. And then recently, around the same time Pinky and I became close, Bagel Bitch and her became close. So then we all three kind of like started hanging out. I'm going to preface this by saying that like I did not go to public school. I went to a private Christian school where there was not a lot of like drama or cliques or mean girl behavior or
good for you.
Any of that.
I did not experience that.
I had never been bullied in my life. I had never had, aside from one other friendship that I had never had tumultuous relationships with my friends. I had always just had like good friends and like good people in my life. And there is one person that was a childhood best friend of mine that I could say I had a horrible relationship with them. They were very like bad to me, but I ended that relationship a long time ago. So I was just kind of like, I feel like I went into this dynamic with Pinky and Bagel Bitch like kind of naive. What?
I was just zoning out because all I had in my head was that stupid AI song that's like, chauffeur, chauffeur.
I don't even know what this is.
Fancy pants, Rich McGee over here. Fuck you. That one? Okay. Sorry.
Well, listen, you don't need to be jealous because I got everything that happens in high school to normal people happened to me when I was in my fucking 30s. Yay. Which is like really, really jarring because you think that people are adults and then they're just not. So anyways, I'm friends with Bagel Bitch and Pinky. Everything's fine. I make the mistake of dating Pinky for a little bit. And like made that crossover into like a romantic relationship. I had recently gotten out of a relationship with my ex when I started dating Pinky. And so I was just like not in the right place for it. So mutually we decided to like part ways. It was fine. And we decided to just continue to be friends.
Yep.
Okay. That was fine for like maybe a month. And then I meet my current wife.
Yep.
And the second that I start like coming out of my, honestly, the really bad place I was in from my breakup and the repression that I was feeling in my relationship and my parents and start dating this new person who I'm like doing all these fun things with and like really just like coming into myself, I notice a shift in the way that Pinky starts treating me. She starts getting very, honestly, emotionally abusive behind closed doors in our friendship. Condescending, controlling, crossing boundaries, overstepping in so many ways, down to like telling me things that I should and shouldn't do in my sex life. Her energy was bad. Her energy was consistently getting worse. And I remember the moment that I realized, by the way, my current wife never liked this girl. The second that they met her, they clocked her and they were like, I don't like this girl.
I will say your wife has excellent like radar.
Excellent
for
radar.
These people.
I trust them in every scenario with people like this now because I have been burned by it enough to be like, they're always right.
Yeah.
So this person, by the way, when they first met my wife, within 5 minutes of meeting them, my wife goes outside to smoke on our balcony. This person, Pinky, goes outside, sits in my wife's lap.
Gross.
Just out of nowhere. They literally just met. And
she would do this all the time to other people's partners too. She would clock the mask one and separate them.
Yep.
And then like hit on them in front of their partners.
Yep.
And like in our world, we're pretty comfortable with that. Like it's not that big. Well, even polyamory aside, like we're comfortable people. We trust our partners. It's not that big of a deal. But like there were some people that like they had relationship issues and they would be like, what the fuck? Yeah. And it would be a problem.
I had other people that I introduced Pinky to that were like, don't ever bring her around me again.
Uncomfortable.
Because she is not a good person. Like I literally had people tell me this and I was like, what? No. And I made excuses for her because I was like, that's just her personality, like whatever.
Yeah.
I then realized very quickly that like she is one of those girls that like has to be the center of attention in all scenarios.
You mean a pick me girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what my wife clocked her as.
Pinky the pick me.
Pinky the pick me.
Boo. A boo.
So anyways, I look outside, she's sitting in my wife's lap and I'm just kind of like, whatever, like that's a little weird. But like, I kind of thought like my wife was okay with it. So I was like, and at the time we had just started dating. So I didn't have the like knowledge of the way that my wife feels about like physically people invading their space that I do now. I now would have known that that would make them really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then they told me after, they were like, she just like sat in my lap and I really didn't like it. Cause like also like she's a lot bigger than my wife. So my wife was like, she was literally like squishing me. Like I did not want her on top of me. And so I was like, okay. And then my wife was like, I don't really want to be around her. So like, I know she's your friend. Like, I'm going to try to give her a chance, but like,
I'm going to
try to just like, minimal contact. So this was the first kind of like red flag that I had. And I was like, ooh, like, why is this person that I trust a lot saying like, they really don't like this person? Am I missing something? And so I realized from January until May was kind of when I noticed the behavior shift in this friend.
Yeah.
And the happier I got, the worse she treated me.
God.
The happier I was and the more in love I was and the more like positive things that happened to me. For example, I got promoted at work. I had a promotion
Good for you.
dinner. Thank you.
Fuck yeah.
And that's what a real friend says. They're happy for me.
If you have a friend who is like exhibiting jealous, like
fuck that
stuff about you, or like doesn't celebrate your successes, or if you're matching outfits and isn't like, oh, cute, we match instead of you're copying me. Shit like this. They're not your fucking friend.
They're not your friend.
They're not your friend.
They're competing with you.
And that's not friendship.
And they're a secret hater that probably is literally just close to you so they can monitor your every move, which I realize is what this girl was.
Like, and haters are just fans, by the way.
Oh, yeah. She's absolutely
like,
a fan, which I realized later.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But I have a promotion dinner, and this is after I've clocked some of the like weird behavior, and I'm distancing myself because I'm kind of like, I don't like this, but I don't know what it is yet. I don't really know. And after my promotion dinner, which she attended, my wife was like, did you clock that she rolled her eyes when you were giving a speech about your promotion? Like, did you see that? And I was like, no.
Ew.
My wife literally saw Pinky roll her eyes at me when I was giving a speech about like being happy that I got promoted. And this was at my fucking celebration dinner for my promotion. Like,
thank you all for coming and celebrating.
It wasn't
me. Like, I'm super excited about this, and I'm so grateful that I have
you there.
Was I? I don't think I was.
Maybe you weren't.
I don't this remember. All happened before we started our talks about this, the podcast.
Okay. Well, everyone else that was there can attest to the fact that like I was also talking about another friend that had just gotten a promotion too, and I was like shouting her out and being like, I'm so proud of her. So we were like having conversations just about like honestly the women at the table that were like doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And this person,
we hype our people up here.
We do.
We hype our friends up.
And if you don't feel like doing that for your friends, that's fucking weird. And you should really like self-reflect. Yeah. Really. And if you have people in your life that don't do that for you, then again, self-reflect. So anyways, we went to a speakeasy afterwards. I was going to the bathroom. Pinky and Bagel Bitch wanted to go to the bathroom with me. So we all go to the bathroom, and I didn't know this happened.
As girls do.
As girls do. My wife gets up to follow us, and Pinky turns around and goes, no, you stay.
What the
To my wife.
Oh, I would have slapped a bitch.
I didn't hear it.
Okay.
And I didn't know. I was already like far ahead. I didn't hear it and I didn't know. And so I was like, I was told after. My wife was like, just so you know, Pinky said this to me. And like, that made me really uncomfortable. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why?
That doesn't make any sense. Why?
Why did she do that? So I started kind of like thinking about it. And I'm like, is she like trying to sabotage my relationship with this person?
What happened in the bathroom? Was there anything of note that
we made out? Me and Pinky did.
Oh, okay. But it was a known perfectly fine thing. Right. It was polyamory. Yeah.
Well, and also like there was no chemistry there at all. Like I did not feel that way about her anymore. It was not like that. It's just like we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like a drunken little, and it wasn't even like a make out. It was like a drunken little kiss, whatever. Like it wasn't even, but.
That gives me such an ick because she clearly like separated you to
do that.
To do that.
Yeah.
So that's like standard manipulation.
Yes.
101.
And I don't know if she wanted to be back together or if she was jealous or if it was just the fact that like she could not stand to see me happy with somebody because that made her feel inferior about herself. I don't know what her reasons were. I honestly don't give a fuck what her reasons were. I just know that her behavior was bad.
Yeah.
So
that's weird. Okay. Weird.
It's weird behavior. So anyway, so this goes on and on and on. She starts treating me worse and worse and worse. And there comes a day where she says something to me that is just so rude and unkind that I text her afterwards and I'm like, hey, we need to have a conversation about the way that like you've been treating me. Let me know when you're willing to chat in person.
Yep.
And I already know that she's going to come out of left field with something that I've done to try to like blame shift. Because at this point, I've realized this bitch is a narcissist. And I know that she's going to like try to make me feel like I did something wrong. And I'm literally racking my brain. And I told a couple of my friends before this, I told my wife and I told my sister-in-law, actually, I was like, she's going to come up with something and I cannot think of what it would be, but I know it's going to be something.
Yeah.
And the text I get back is, yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you about some things too.
Yeah, right. She was never going to bring it up and actually talk to you about it. She's just been passive aggressive this whole time, being a jerk about it.
Yeah. She's just going to try to emotionally abuse me enough to where I feel down about myself so she can feel better.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I don't take shit like that. Like, if you're mistreating me, like, I'm going to clock it and I'm going to be like, I'm going to call you out and we're going to talk about it. And it's not that I won't give you another chance, but it's like, we're going to have a conversation and then I'm going to try to gauge if you're sincere or not. And so when she responded with that, I was like,
okay, here we go.
And then I made the decision in that moment. I was like, we're not going to be friends. I was like, I am not going to continue a relationship with this person. I knew because her behavior was so textbook of, I don't know if you're familiar with the phase or the process that a narcissist goes through where they put somebody on a pedestal and they idealize them. And then once they realize you're human, they abuse you and discard you. And it's a cycle over and over and over.
Mm-hmm. That's how they keep you around.
I had gone through that cycle with her.
Yeah.
And I was in the discard phase.
Okay. So I know the conversation. I want you to talk about this conversation.
Because it
correlates with some of my stuff that was going on at the same time.
Okay. So which by the way, I think to make herself feel like she had some measure of control, she was like, I can't speak to you until next week. I'm not free until next week.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever. I know that you're just like fucking around doing whatever you do, but like, sure, if we need to wait a week, like we need to wait a week. Yeah. Whatever. And so I went to her house and I started the conversation with, our dynamic is no longer working for me. And I really don't appreciate the way that you have crossed my boundaries in XYZ way. I'm uncomfortable with it and I don't want it to continue.
Yeah.
And I gave her examples because she was like, well, what do you mean I've crossed your boundaries? Can you give me examples? I give her examples. And I say, I now feel like it's very unsafe for me to say anything around you or tell you anything because I feel that it's being used against me every single time. To which she turns the conversation and says, well, I don't feel safe saying anything around you. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go. Projecting. Okay. For sure. What exactly do you not feel safe? Like, why don't you feel safe? So I ask her that question and she goes, I literally have to laugh every time I tell this story because it's so fucking crazy. She goes, everything is a competition with you. Bridget, when I tell you that I thought she was joking.
You probably laughed.
I literally did. I was like, and then I realized she looked so serious.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, this bitch actually believes this. Whatever she's about to say, she believes it's happening.
Yeah, what the hell is the competition? Please tell me what I'm creating.
So then I was like, okay, what exactly do you mean by that? I was like, I don't understand what you're saying right now. And she was like, I dyed my hair pink and then you dyed your hair pink. Which, by the way, if anybody knows who I'm talking about, you'll understand this. If you don't, her hair is blonde and bubblegum pink, hence the nickname Pinky. It is like bubblegum pink. At the time, and this was when we were recording the first episodes, my hair was the same for the first episodes of season 1 of the podcast.
Yes.
That was the color of my hair.
And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you guys go to some hair modeling thing together? And I remember her talking about how she was so excited you guys were going to get matching hair and blah, 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 or something like that.
She was just excited that we were going to a hair thing. I don't remember the conversation.
Matching hair or not, who cares?
I was literally, the way that I was not even thinking about her
when you got your hair
in
dyed.
Any scenario of anything that I did was so... It's honestly the most embarrassing thing for her to think it was about her when legitimately I have a screenshot on my phone of the TikTok that inspired me to do my hair the way I did.
Yeah.
My hair was cherry purple.
It was red. Like a magenta red.
It was magenta. Yeah. And black. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Anything else? And she was like, I'm into BDSM and kink. And all of a sudden you're into BDSM and kink, which for anybody who's listened to season 1 of the podcast, y'all know that shit goes way back for me. Y'all know that shit goes back to like 11 for me. And she just keeps going on. She goes, if I send a picture in the group chat, you send a picture in the group chat. If I post something on my story, you post something on your story.
Well, wasn't she also talking about, because I remember we had a whole phone call about this, because I remember talking about it, because you were like, get this, because I was going through something with Hair Girl at the time. And I remember the podcast, she brought up the pod, where she was I wanted to do more educational, like sex content on my OnlyFans.
And I told you about that. And I was like,
and I remember you telling me that she wanted to do that because we were actually going to have her on here to talk about it, to promote it. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're doing the podcast, which cracks me up.
Because it was your idea.
Because it wasn't even your idea. I was like, hey, I love you. This makes sense. Do you want to come do this with me?
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with you competing with her.
And I said that to her. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, Pinky. I was like, we're going to need to take a couple steps back.
Hold the fuck up.
I was like, the podcast came from Brigitte. I was like, that was not my idea. I was like, I literally was like, this is a one-sided competition. If you feel like you're in competition with me, it is one-sided. I am telling you right now that I have never competed with you. I don't do that in my friendships. I have friends that I am extremely similar to, like even more similar interest-wise than her and I were.
Yeah.
That like we do similar things, and I have never once viewed it as who can do it better. Yeah. That's weird bitch behavior. Well, that's weird.
What gets me is that like even to the point where she was like, you post something, like I post something and then you post the same thing. I see something that you post and I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love that. I'm going to post it on my story. Well, also, and nobody cares.
The example she had was one time she posted a slide about polyamory, and it was on a poly page we both follow.
Yeah.
And I reposted it too. And I'm like, that's how social media works, dude. Like, everybody I don't really know how else you expect for people to see infographics that they're interested in other than following pages. And like, if you and your friend have similar interests, you're going to post the same things. And also, why, whose brain works that way where you see someone post something that you do and you think that like, it's somehow taking something away from you? Like, that's weird.
I think like reflections in each other are like the highest form of compliment.
It literally is.
Right? It's like you and I will sometimes, we'll show up and we'll be like wearing outfits that basically match each other. And we're like, yes, twinsies. It's not like, oh my God, you're copying me.
No, like, that's weird.
It's so weird to me that people have that, like, you posted this, you got the same thing. Like, you got fucking hair extensions. And I was like, I want hair extensions.
I've literally talked about getting like these
same tattoos.
But like, you know what's crazy? Those two examples though were actually like inspired by something that the other is doing.
Yeah.
No offense, but
there was nothing.
This girl had nothing that I wanted.
Yeah.
And like we couldn't be more different from a personality standpoint. A lot of our interests were the same, which is why we became friends in the first place. But like, there was not a single time in our friendship that she did something that I was like, oh, I want to emulate that.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely not a single time.
Yeah.
So for her to like say that, I was number one, like, honestly, I felt bad for her and I was embarrassed for her because I was like, imagine making so many things about you that genuinely have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And like thinking that like other people are watching your moves as closely as you're watching theirs. Like, I realized that throughout our friendship, she was watching everything I did so closely, like monitoring me. And I was like out here just fucking living my life.
Yeah.
Like, I was genuinely shocked when she said this because I don't think that way. I don't watch what my friends do like that. Yeah. Like, that's weird.
You do, to the sense where like you can celebrate them.
I'm celebrating their wins. Yeah. If I'm watching them, it's
there's never
to be
been
like,
a moment where you haven't done
are
that.
they good? Are they okay? Do I need to check in on them? Or like celebrating their wins again?
How can I gas them up?
That's it.
Yeah.
So I ended up in this conversation just ending it with being like, if you need this, take it.
Yeah.
If you need this to feel better about yourself, like, go ahead and take it. I am not participating in this. Like, this is a one-sided competition, and that's it. Like, I'm not going to feed into whatever this delusion is that you have.
Yeah.
And I left, and I sent her a text message the next day. No, actually, it was that night. I sent her a text message, and I ended the friendship in the text message. Yeah. And I was basically just like, I am out. Like, this is crazy. I don't do this in my friendships. I don't stand for this behavior. I'm walking away from this. This bitch is so detached from reality. She sent me a message the next day, pretending like I had never sent that message. And she ended the friendship. And literally, I didn't even read her message. My wife read it, and I was like, just tell me if there's anything I need to know. Like, I don't want to read this. I was like, I literally don't want to delete. You can just delete her messages. Like, I don't care. But I was like, if there's something I need to know, like, you can read it and, like, let me know. And my wife was like, she literally, like, almost copy and pasted your message. Like, the first part of it. Like, she, like, copied what I said to her.
And then
made it her own. And then was like, well, I'm ending the friendship. And I'm like, that's literally what she did when we broke up. It was a mutual breakup, and she told everybody that she broke up with me. And I was like, no. I'm the one that said we should probably take a break in the phone call.
How weird.
And so she, like, it was this weird control thing where she had to have, like, everything on her terms. And so I was like, okay, bye, you crazy bitch. Like,
the Delulu is strong. So I will say for both of us this past year, like the past, 8 months or something like that, the trash has seen itself out.
Oh, absolutely.
And every single one of these individuals that have, and frankly to me, like, none of them have been a loss to me.
Oh, no.
And I don't think for you.
No, I haven't.
Now that I like
missed them
look
once.
back on it, like the drama was crazy and I hated that, but like, wow, like, I honestly probably better for it, dodged lots of bullets.
Yeah.
And like the amount of delusion or just like inappropriate expectations within the relationships are, like, it makes no sense. Like, there's no logic.
Boundary crossing, like,
just insane.
Over involvement in other people's lives to a point of, like, it's fucking crazy that you care that much about what other people do. That's weird.
It's deeply, like, obsessive and unhinged, and just, it's just a little, like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So before we get into Bagel Bitch, because they were also friends, you ended the friendship. You also ended somewhat of a professional relationship, because that's where we got introduced to Miss Livy. Livy, shout out Livy. We always make you blush when we say your name. We love you.
She's perfect.
She's gay panicking right now, guys.
Yeah. Flash her a titty.
She would die. But I remember us having this phone conversation because you were like, guess what the fuck happened? Because at the same time, I was going through the hair girl debacle, right?
Yeah.
Which this is what connects with one of your exes. So hair girl is like deeply interwoven into a lot of the drama that has been happening.
Yeah.
That has happened. We're past it. That has been happening. Hair girl is... Oh, and this also brings up my ex, because I forgot about that connection. Oh my God. Okay.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Hair girl.
Strap in, lesbians.
Strap in, strap up. Hair girl is a mutual friend that I made through my ex-partner that I've talked about, that, like, my polyamorous secondary partner that kind of really started the whole polyamory journey for me. I will start with the partner and just do like a brief synopsis. I have since learned so much about this person. They were, I really, like, at the end of it, I genuinely like, they're a good person. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, they really need monogamy. Like, we're stepping away from this. I have since learned that this person was the term cowgirl. Or like they also cowboy, they maybe. But was a cowgirl. And in polyamory, a cowgirl is somebody who comes in and tries to rope the partner away from their other partner and pull them. So I have since understood that they had this expectation that I was going to leave my wife for them at some point.
Which not polyamory, but okay.
Which was also, we specifically had conversations where I was like, I'm engaged. I'm getting married. This is what the time and the effort and the relationship that I can offer you. Does that work for you? If it doesn't, please tell me so that we can go our separate ways. Maybe figure out different boundaries, dynamics, see if we can make it work, kind of thing like that. Not once in our relationship did she ever bring up that it was really an issue. She just kind of kept going down the spiral of depression and just like would place it all on me. She would get drunk. She would be like, oh, well, I keep this ex that makes you uncomfortable around because I'm just waiting for you to like leave me so I can just go back to her. Which, like, yeah, of course you're making my uncomfortability warranted because of the shit you just said. Like, I was like, I'm not ever going to tell you to cut somebody out, but like, I'm uncomfortable about that. Like, I'm getting bad vibes. My vibes were right. They always are.
You have a good gut check too.
I do. people that she had said she was friends with during that whole time, which when she moved back out to the area, I was like, oh, like go hang out with some of your friends that are out here, like maybe having more interaction with other people. Like you could meet other people, maybe get another partner so that you don't feel like you're all in on me. Like maybe that would be helpful. As it turns out, I have since met a lot of these people and I'd be like, oh, like, hey, do you know my ex? Like they said that you guys are like best friends. And they were like, I think I've maybe met them once through like
Yikes.
My other friends.
These bitches stay embarrassing themselves.
I know. And I was just like, what the fuck? And since then, I've also learned that during the entirety of our relationship, she was cheating on me. I have a good friend that was seeing somebody who had been like there at the tail end. They're like, oh yeah, like she just told me that you both had the same partner, like towards the end of your relationship. And I was like, what? What do you mean?
Like, what is the point of that? Like, why would she not just tell you?
Well, that's the thing is that I was like, I don't like, it is fine like for you to have other partners. That's not an issue. I'm not going to like do any weird veto power or anything like that. My only request was that like, you let me know, like if something comes up,
obviously.
Like let me know so that like, if you are going to have another partner, I can set my expectations, my emotions. We can figure out our boundaries around that. We can talk about our sexual health, like all of this stuff. As it turns out, she was talking to and like sleeping with multiple people during this time frame, which gives me like ew, because I'm really big about sexual health and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're sleeping with. Yeah. And I don't know if you're being safe. Yeah. And then you're bringing it to me. Yeah. No, like that. Talk about unethical to the nth degree. So yeah. So this poor girl was told that they were polyamorous and I knew and it was okay. So later on, this person is dating her.
Was this other person poly too that she was dating?
She's open. Like she was fine with it. Like it wasn't a big deal. She's actually very nice. Like I have no problem with this girl because it wasn't her fucking fault. She was told that it was okay. And that I was just a metamor who was like parallel. Like I didn't really like to meet other people when in actuality, she wasn't telling me anything. She was lying to this girl to get in her pants and like was using everyone. So really, really shitty. So now I'm like, man, I made the best decision by opening up the door for letting this girl go away. So where Hair Girl comes in. Hair Girl is somebody that I met through this ex.
Right.
And at the beginning of when my ex and I had started talking before our relationship like really started, before we were like exclusivity, there was a night where they were sending me like pictures and Snapchats and stuff like that. And they were hanging out with their friend, Hair Girl. And Hair Girl was all over them, sitting on their lap. They were getting drunk. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, they're going to fuck. They're going to hook up, which I can't be really all that upset about because we're not exclusive. We haven't had that conversation. We don't have boundaries. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I can't be upset. Fair assumption. Like, it kind of, I was like, man, that kind of sucks. Like,
it's kind of shitty on your friend's part.
Like we were literally like sexting. So like I'm getting her amped up and then she goes and fucks Hair Girl.
Yikes. And I'm sure it was like, not even great.
I'm sure it wasn't. But besides the point, it's not my issue to have like an actual issue with. Like I can't be mad. There's no actual cheating going on. So all good. I guess I didn't get to meet this Hair Girl for like a really long time because I guess she expected that like I hated her, like all kinds of stuff, probably because my ex was telling her some nonsense. And we finally meet because I'm like, I need a new hair person that can do my color well. You do hair. I love to support people that are in my community and like friends and like stuff like that. And so I started going to her, frequenting that. She became my hair person consistently. She also became my wife's hair person consistently. And
it's always these fucking service providers.
It's always these service providers. Yeah. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back because I've met some really awesome, great service providers and the ones that we have right now and the friends of ones that I've met.
Amazing.
Chef's kiss. We love you. It's just these other ones that we're having issues with. So around the time that you're going through your shit with Pinky, I'm going through a series of weirdness with Hair Girl. She has a friend. They hate this because they're a very small human, but I'm going to call them a little bit. A little bit.
That's cute.
She has a friend, a little bit, that she talks about constantly during our appointments. And it's all cool. And Hair Girl's always like, oh my God, like you have to meet sometime. You guys have a lot in common. You guys would be friends. You would probably have like crushes on each other. Blah, 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 blah.
Like she's hyping it up like you guys would like kind of matchmaking a little bit.
Matchmaking, but also like even platonically matchmaking. Like there's no like expectation of you guys should date, but like also like, oh, you'd have crush on it. Like it wasn't anything weird. It was fine. That's how I took it, at least. Okay. But at the same time, she would also shit on them in their conversations because they had dated for years prior, like off and on. And it's been like 8 years of craziness. And Hair Girl also has a child, and this partner helped raise this child, and yada, yada, yada. So it was always strange. And it got to this point where I was like, I would like to meet this person, but I would also like to talk to them on my own terms, because I'm only hearing about, because she would ask me my advice on like how to handle certain scenarios, but she would give me her version of it and really paint this person in a bad light. And so I would say, like, this is my experience just based on what you're telling me, but I don't know this person, and then would go back to this person and tell them that I said that they were a bad person or something like that. Like would twist my words.
Playing
to this
you guys
person.
against each other.
Playing against each other. And so it finally got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to add them on like Snapchat and reach out and be like, hey, like this person mutual, like she's been saying that we would be friends. I'd love to get to know you. Yeah. Form another friendship in the queer community. Very cool. Love that. And then like you can come around when we're hanging out and like it'll be a good time. Because I had invited Hair Girl to like multiple things, and I'd always be like, hey, bring Lil Bit with you. Like I'd love to meet them. Like bring them along so that they can be invited to everything. Because I never saw them around or anything. Turns out she would never invite this person around because, one, she was lying to everybody about all the scenarios that surrounded certain things, and also was just like, I guess, embarrassed of them, because to her, working in food service or just like staying consistent in a job that you enjoy doing and make good money in was not you like trying to level up and being like a boss bitch, and like therefore you were like worthless. And I'm like, that just tells me you're a shit person. And also a privileged ass little brat. But we go through this process where I start talking to Lil Bit. To this day, we are friends platonically. We like, it's chill. Everything's cool. We have a snap streak. We talk every day. It's wonderful. I really enjoy this person. We talk, but there were so many times like during this this whole process, I was still going to appointments and we'd talk, and I'd be like, oh yeah, we talked about this, and Hair Girl would talk about the shit that they would go through, and she would be like, oh, haha, like it's so funny that you guys are talking. Like no problem, zero problem. All of a sudden, there is like a shift in the relationship with this girl. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. And Lil Bit is talking to me and is like, hey, like she's acting like she's upset that we're talking. So like, I'm probably going to back off. And I'm like, well, I don't want to cause a rift in your relationship there. Like, cause clearly you guys have been in each other's lives for a long time. You're friends. Like if I need to back off, tell me.
She started to feel threatened.
I guess. Yeah. Sure. But I was like, I'll back off if I need to. Like, I don't want to cause any strife. That's fine. I have a phone conversation because I'm like, hey, like if you need to talk about anything, it's the same thing. If you need to talk about anything, let's talk. Because I'm big on like, let's have a conversation. If I've done something that's upset you, I will remedy it. I will apologize and I will remedy it because I would like to have that relationship. Like I care about it and I care about you and your feelings. So we have a phone conversation. This phone conversation, I can barely get a word in edgewise because she's just going off and off and off and off about how we're practically dating and how I'm a bad friend and I'm like against her and telling Lil Bit all these things that she said about her that she never said, which she did. Cause I was like, there were scenarios where I was like, oh, like that's not how the conversation went. This is what she said. And Lil Bit would get upset because they were like, she's painting me in this horrible light and she's been telling me this other stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I didn't even know. Yeah. So there was a lot of like the she said, and then her twisting a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And I was like, this is what I said. I am not dating this person. She had convinced a little bit that we were dating because we were talking every day and like da-da-da-da. And I was like, have we had a conversation about that? No, we're not dating. We're just friends. Like we have a lot in common. We enjoy each other. You have told me specifically you don't like to date. You are into like mutual platonic love across the board. Right. Like, and that's fine. And I'm not really looking to date someone. Right. Like it was very clear that that was not the case. She's like, no, you are. You're a bad friend. You've like betrayed me. You like took advantage of like me introducing you to, and now like you knew how I felt about them. Da 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 da. And bitch, I was just like, hold the fuck up. I was like, all you do is talk shit about this person. Yeah. And say that like you don't want to be with them and that they like aren't on your level. But you did tell me that we would be friends. She was like, no, I never said that. And I was like, you literally told me to be friends with her. Like, I'm so confused right now. And I was like, and she was like, yeah, like they're telling me this, and they're saying that you told them this and I never said that. And I said, well, I was like, okay, here's here's the thing, like, let's remedy this. I was like, why don't the three of us get together and sit down and have an adult conversation about what has been said? No, I won't do that. No, I'm done with you. Like, immediately done with me, refuses to have the conversation, refuses to talk about it, is talking over me the whole time. And I was like, well, look, hair girl, like, it tells me a lot that you don't want to sit down and have a conversation where we just go ahead and align on stuff, because typically if you're anti that, because you think she said, if you're anti that, it usually means that you have been lying or you have been misconstruing different things and you don't want to be caught. I was like, and that tells me a lot. I was like, I'm going to offer it one more time. I'm willing to try to fix this friendship, to try and set boundaries and try to everybody get on the same page so that we all know what everyone's talking about. No, I'm done with you. Fuck you. Bye. Hangs up on me. And I was like, oh, I called a little bit and I was like, hey, just so you know, like, my friendship is over with this person. This is what was said. This was the conversation. This is what I offered to try and do a mediation. And she refused both times. And they were like, okay. So, because
she's probably freaking out internally at the thought of you guys all in a room together, making her face what she said to both of you, and the things that she said are different.
She's been lying and talking shit about people and all kinds of stuff. So our friendship ends. But just before that, this is where your ex comes in. Just before that, right before all of the little bit drama happens, which, bless Little Bit, such a lovely human, honestly has been deeply abused by this person for like 8+ years. And has loved Hair Girl for a very long time. And just every single time she gets in a relationship with somebody, completely shoves them out the door, kicks them to the curb, but then proceeds to cheat on every single person with Lil Bit, because Lil Bit is reeled in and believes that she'll come around and they'll be together someday. And that kills me, because they deserve so much more and could do so much better. It just kills me. But the thing is, that's their choice. That's their relationship. They get to do what they want. And I'm hoping that they will realize their worth sooner rather than later and live their life, because they're still so fucking young. Like, please go find someone who values you, or someone you well. Doesn't matter. I don't care if they're platonic or not, but like, get the fuck away from that. That's so toxic and it's hurting you. So just before that, I think it was like one of my last appointments with her, because I remember telling you this. One of my last appointments with her, during the process of you and your ex, like the end of it, you're not together, right? Yeah.
We weren't together, but we had literally ended our relationship a month prior, and we're still living together.
You're still living together. You were figuring out the separation, the move, the emotions, stuff like that. And I know that she has like slid into your ex's DMs.
Let me preface some of this with okay, so before the conversation that you had with her at the hair salon, what had happened was, this was maybe 3 weeks after we broke up. I met her, Hair Girl, through Brigitte
at like a party.
And she was somebody that I was friends with, who I was not close to. It was more of like an acquaintance thing. And it was the same with her and my ex. She decided to start forming a relationship with my ex. Specifically, autonomously, immediately after I broke up with them. And I saw on my ex's phone a couple of weeks after that she had sent my ex 3 selfies of herself and said, "Don't I look cute today?" And they were talking back and forth. And I confronted my ex about like her behavior. And I didn't talk about the pictures, because technically
you didn't see them.
I didn't see them. But if you're watching this now, you know I saw them on your phone. But I was basically like, she's flirting with you. Like, she's literally trying to like make something happen. And that makes me really uncomfortable, because we literally just broke up. We just broke up. And this is supposed to be somebody that's like my friend. And like, it's too soon for her to be doing this. We still live together. And my ex was adamant, no, she's not flirting with me. She's not doing this. She's not, like, just fucking gaslighting me into thinking that nothing was going on. And at the time, I thought my ex was just blind to it. And now I think it was intentional, that she just like, she knew, but she didn't want to stop talking to this person. And she didn't want me to feel uncomfortable, I guess.
Also was probably enjoying the attention during a tumultuous emotional time frame.
100%. And that's fair, because I did break up with her, but I was also like, I don't want to sit here and be gaslit. And I told her that
just
at
be
the
honest
time.
With me.
I was like, I'm telling you this is happening. And she was adamant, this is not happening. This is not happening. This is not happening. But they were still talking, and I knew that hair girl was like trying to get at my ex. Cue my ex moving to Colorado.
And then your ex moving to Colorado. And I start having conversations with her, which actually right before Colorado was the Halloween party, right?
Yep. Which I didn't speak to her that night. I said, no, bitch, I'm not going to pretend to be your friend tonight.
Yeah. This Halloween party was another friend's house that they are also somebody who seen themselves out the door. We'll get to that later. But Halloween party happens. You guys come. It's like the final farewell. Like, hey, I'm moving to Colorado next weekend. Literally, it was like next weekend. I just want to come say hi. Like, all my friends. Gonna go. Hair girl's at that party with her new girlfriend, the chef. At the time.
Who, by the way, she had been dating for like, I think a week. And they were literally acting like they were married. It was crazy.
Well, that's how she is with every single one of her partners. So Hair Girl is currently with her new girlfriend, the chef. And they're all over each other the whole night, blah, 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 blah. But I remember you and your ex walk in, and of course she's talking. She gets really plastered that night, as she does. She almost always does. The chef left early. She's staying there like after the fact, and we're playing games, and she is just absolutely drunk off her ass. Like, we're like, you're not driving home. Like, you're sleeping here. We're not letting you take your keys. And she keeps talking about, she's like, oh my God, did you see, like, that's ex. Like, they basically, like, are they still together? Because it just looked like they were still together. It's really weird that they showed up at the party together.
Well, we were still fucking, girls. So, like, nothing was going to happen with you.
I was just kind of like, but what does it matter? Like, you have a girlfriend.
Yeah. Why do you care, honey?
And it was a monogamous relationship. This girl's never been polyamorous, but she does continuously cheat on these people and stuff like that. That night is also the night that I was like, I'm not really inviting her to anything, because this is the second time that she has hung out with our friends, and she has gotten drunk, and she has proceeded to go into the bathroom and comes out butt-ass naked or in her underwear because people weren't giving her enough attention, and she needed attention.
It sounds like Pinky, honestly.
Yes. Yeah, honestly, the vibe of the two of them, now that I look back and like think about experience with both of them,
wildly insecure.
Just wildly insecure people that really need attention. Yeah. Which I do feel for those people, because there has to be a certain level of insecurity and trauma and sadness.
Yeah. Like, I think it's from childhood stuff, but at the same time.
But also grow up. We're all like late 20s, early 30s. We should be more than this. Yeah. We're not 15 anymore. So that happens. I have my last thing. And this gets brought up in the phone conversation, when I'm talking to her about a little bit. But we're at a hair appointment, and she's talking about how she's like, oh my God, like, Beth's ex has been like sliding into my DMs all this time. No. Like she's been doing this. She's like flirting with me all the time. Like, I know she's out in Colorado. She invited me to come stay with her. Like, I don't know if I should go. Like, I'm kind of like uncomfortable about it, but it's also exciting. But I also don't want like Beth to be mad at me or hate me.
I already hated you, bitch. It's okay.
But like that, and then she's like, I just don't know. And she was like, what if something happens? And I was like, well, like, you're an adult and you make choices, and you can say no. If you feel uncomfortable, you can stay somewhere not at their place.
Yep.
Or if you think something's going to happen and you don't want it to happen, you can set a boundary and say, hey, I'm just here to have a good time. We're not doing anything. Yeah. And I was like, and I also, at the time, I was like, I don't think that this ex would like pressure you into anything.
Also, just to preface, this ex was never interested.
Yes, we now know that.
Yeah.
But like that, I do not know that in this conversation. Yeah. I'm like, oh, holy shit. And I remember talking to you about it, because I was like, this is fucking weird. I remember talking about this because you were like, no, that's not the case. She's been sliding into her DMs, and at one point was sliding into yours there for a minute. And like, here are all the receipts. And it got brought up in that conversation about Lil Bit, where I was just like, look, I was like, it's not just the Lil Bit stuff. Like, you're telling me these things that are just untrue. And like, there are receipts. And she was like, bring out the receipts, bitch. I have receipts too. We can compare receipts. And I'm like, well, you're not even willing to sit down at the table and have a conversation. What makes me think that you're going to sit down and actually compare receipts? Because how much you want to bet? Yeah. It doesn't correlate with the story that you believe.
Well, because she got upset at you because I had blocked her on social media.
Oh, yes.
Remember? And she would like spun that into like, why didn't you tell me your best friend blocked me or something?
Yeah. I was supposed to inform her that you had blocked her.
Which I don't even know that I told you I blocked her.
You didn't. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, one, I'm not aware of that, but two, it's also not my business. That's between you and her.
Well, also,
why don't you have a conversation with Beth about it?
I was going to say, she was not important enough to me for me to do anything other than block her and just move on. Like, I didn't talk to anybody about it.
But also to have the expectation that I, who had nothing to do with that scenario at all between you, her. No. That was all y'all. I was just happened to be like a third party that was like an introduction.
Yeah.
And that's it. I had no idea what was going on in the background aside from what was being told to me.
Yeah.
That I should be the one responsible and that I was a bad friend for not informing her that you had blocked her. I was like, what are we, 13? Like,
bitches are literally crazy.
I said that. I remember telling her, I was like, what are we, in high school? That makes no sense.
All of these situations are like, it comes down to the fact that these people that we've had these situations with, they all act like we're still in high school.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
The mentality that they have is so
cliquish like
in high school, and
stunted.
Like, it's petty.
It's so stunted.
It's like they have not grown past the age of 15 mentally.
Yeah.
It really is. Because it's like, bitch, like, why do you think that people who are adults that have like lives and jobs
actually care about
this,
any
like,
of this?
actually care about shit like this? I don't actually
care.
Like, the fact that like somebody would think that I would go out of my way to copy things they do when I am literally like, I have a full-time job. I'm in a leadership position in a corporate role. I have hobbies. I have a wife, like all of this shit. I'm like, I literally don't have time to think about what you do.
Yeah.
I don't have time for it. And that's weird.
I have too much going on and too many people to take care of. Like,
but
this
all
is
it tells me is that like those people think that way. They do that to other people.
Okay. So
here we go.
Literally like days later, she has a plane ticket and she's going to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has booked the ticket. She's fucking going. Which she does when she thinks she's going to like go get something with somebody. Even though she's all like, what if something happened? Like, just say it with your whole chest or don't.
Did I tell you what I got told actually happened on that trip?
Well, yes. Yeah, so I was, from what I know, which you can interject or tell me what I'm wrong. From what I know, she goes on the trip. Your ex has told you that she regrets inviting her.
She wanted to disinvite her,
but like didn't. Felt bad. Also, your ex has a girlfriend at this time who is uncomfortable with the fact that this girl who has decided to like basically say, yes, I'm coming on over to stay with her. And they have like their friend party or something. And she basically sloughs her off onto a friend who, when she got back, she was like, yeah, like nothing happened with the ex. Cause she like apparently got a girlfriend and like didn't tell me, which I'm pretty sure she was all over her social media. So what the fuck?
She was, but Hair Girl did kiss my ex, tried to for a photo. I don't know if I ever told you this.
No, I didn't know about that.
My ex called me later and told me, like, this was months later.
Yeah.
Like, because we weren't speaking when this happened.
Yeah.
But my ex, when her and I were trying to like be friends again, told me that when Hair Girl got there the first time that she went, she was like, pose for a picture with me. And my ex sat down and Hair Girl sat in her lap, and when they took the picture, she grabbed her face and kissed her. So there's a photo of them kissing. And then my ex was like, I'm not interested.
Also had a girlfriend. Oh my God. It's a miracle she came back from Colorado alive and that the girlfriend didn't murder her there on the spot.
Yeah.
Anyways, left her off onto one of her friends. Yeah. And to my knowledge, they like fucked until the wee hours of the morning before she had to fly back, and then was actually in a relationship with this person for a while, long distance, which of course she cheated on that person with a little bit during that time frame.
Yep.
Sorry, friend in Colorado. I'm really sorry for you because you're probably nice. Like, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure
like,
she's sweet.
You didn't know, and that was fucked up, and that you did not deserve that. So.
I've heard, like, I'm not going to repeat the things that I've heard, but I will just say I've heard that she did a lot of things and said a lot of things when she's been in Colorado within that friend group in Colorado that caused a lot of issues. She fucked up a friend group there.
I'm not surprised. And also just seeing her behavior, like she can't handle her liquor.
No.
She can't handle not having enough attention, and she'll say whatever she can to start shit. Like, it's really, really obnoxious. And it's so funny because like the last time that we really hung out was she came to see a show of mine. She brought a little bit. It was the first time I actually really got to hang out with a little bit. The first time I got to see me sing, and they were talking about how like I did so well and I was so talented and blah, blah, blah. And then she proceeded to make out with a little bit after telling her that like didn't want to be with her, just to like reel it back in because we were about to hang out that night and we had like too much, like we were having too good of a conversation and too much of a connection. She didn't like it.
These girls are so insecure. Yeah. It's like so sad.
So all of that happens. Life kind of dissipates. And that weaves into the online dating hookup mess scenario between like
my
ex, wife, Bagel bitch. And that's where Bagel bitch comes into play.
Bagel bitch. Here
so I'm going to let you take the ropes on that one.
Okay. So
because I remember our hair day.
So I had thought after I cut out Pinky that I was like done with bad friends and drama. And by the way, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but Bagel bitch cut out Pinky as well for her own reasons because she alleged that Pinky basically stole money from her by like not paying her for a trip they took together.
Damn.
Pinky said that she was never told she needed to pay for the trip. And
she said. Nobody actually knows the truth.
I don't know what the truth is. But anyways, Bagel bitch cut off Pinky for that reason. And by the way, when Pinky and I had a falling out, I never told Bagel bitch what happened. I never said anything to her about it. Aside from one time we went out to drinks and she brought it up to me because Pinky had been talking to her, said a bunch of shit about me. I don't even know what all, but I know it was not good. And so she brought up to me the falling out. And all I said was, I'm not going to I don't want to interfere in y'all's friendship. So all I'll say is you're going through a breakup currently. Once you start to get over that breakup and start doing better, just watch out. Like, be careful because this is the type of person that
this is what I experienced.
I don't know that they want the best things for their friends. That's all I said.
Yep.
I didn't say anything about what happened with us. Because again, I didn't want to interfere in their friendship. So then they had that falling out of their own fucking accord. And then afterwards, Bagel bitch comes to me, tells me about it. And then I'm like, okay, well, that tracks because this is what I experienced with them. So then I told her about everything. And then Bagel bitch and I start hanging out. We become friends. I did have some red flags for her as a person when I first started hanging out with her because she's one of those people. The reason she was nicknamed Bagel bitch is because somebody compared her to a plain bagel with no cream cheese. Like, she literally is devoid of she's human emotion.
She's kind of a dry human.
She's dry.
She's very monotone.
She's a flat
she's very
affect.
Emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
Even a friendship setting. I could see that just from an external point of view.
But I attributed a lot of that to her being in a bad place going through a breakup. I really thought
and trauma and shit.
Trauma. It's I'm never going to judge somebody for being a little bit more closed off because I understand people go through things. And so I didn't chalk that up as her being a bad person. I chalked it up to her, things that she's gone through. So I didn't see it for what it was, unfortunately. But, I watched her around this time frame. She was coming out. She was dating women. I watched her be very toxic in her relationships with the people that she was dating.
I feel so bad for these people because she did start. So this is also somebody, which we'll get into the history that I have there later down the line when it makes sense. But I remember something, my biggest red flag was I don't like this, was when she started a series online talking about her dating experiences and basically shitting on these people.
And for no reason. It was clear in the stories even that they hadn't done anything wrong. She was just picking them apart for no reason.
She was picking them apart, or she was they were going out on a first date and she was drinking heavily and they were trying to keep up with her and impress her, and then they did something stupid and she judged them for it.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. And also, I don't understand any first dates where you go and get plastered together. Aren't you supposed to be getting to know someone?
Well,
unless you're planning on hooking up?
She doesn't have a personality unless she's drunk.
These poor people were set up to fail in these scenarios. And then she went online and picked them apart.
Yeah. That was a red flag to me too.
I did not like that.
I didn't like it either.
I thought it was so mean.
And I kind of stopped interacting with the videos because I was like, oh, this is
We even met one of the people and they were so fucking nice.
Yeah. Which unfortunately that person is still kind of, as far as I know, being used by
her. I'm so sorry. You're so nice.
Yeah, I know.
You were so sweet.
Anyway, so she was really horrible to the people she dated. And before I kind of saw how bad she was, I had a mutual friend. Well, not a mutual friend. I had a friend who I had matched with on a dating app the year prior. And then we started hanging out and talking and being friends, whatever. Bagel bitch comes out and I posted some photos with her. And this girl who's my friend had slid up and said something about her being so beautiful, whatever.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, well, I can like get y'all together. I can like maybe do a little matchmaking. Yeah, exactly. So we had a brunch planned and then I got sick. I got COVID and I had to cancel the brunch. And so they didn't meet at the brunch, but then they matched on Bumble, I think, or Hinge a couple of weeks later.
Okay.
And they both texted me at the same time and were like, oh, I matched with whatever.
The person we were going to meet. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, this is cute. Like whatever. By the way, the friend that I have that I'm still really good friends with, she's poly. And she had a boyfriend at the time.
And also the sweetest angel baby human on earth.
Literally the most perfect person you've ever fucking met. Like
made of sugar, genuine human.
Very kind, very sweet, very like just a good fucking human.
Yeah. And you can feel it when you're around them.
Anybody that dates this person is a lucky fucking bitch. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they could have like some fun together. I know Bagel Bitch has really been wanting like, you know, something like they want something with a woman that's a little more like they've been going after really toxic people. So I kind of thought this really sweet person would like get them out of that. Would be great. Would be a nice change up. I realized they were going after toxic people because she's toxic. But anyway, so they start dating.
Yeah.
Not exclusively. Again.
Yeah.
My friend, we're just going to call her Sugar. My friend Sugar is...
Hey, Sugar, we love you.
She's poly, so she's not really dating other women, but she has a boyfriend. Bagel Bitch is dating a bunch of other people at the same time, fucking a bunch of other people, but not communicating that to Sugar.
No.
Sugar doesn't know.
But also in relationship form is a monogamous person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what she says.
Yeah.
I mean, based on her behavior.
Well, that's what Hair Girl said, and then she was still doing whatever.
Anyway, so they date for a couple of months, and towards the end of that relationship, Bagel Bitch makes it very clear to me that she's not into Sugar anymore. Mm-hmm. That way. She just wants to be friends. That's it. And so I encourage her to just communicate that to Sugar before they hang out again so that she can really like just be honest about how she feels and Sugar's not being led on. Because I could tell that Sugar was like getting invested in the relationship, but like also was like a little bit confused.
Bagel Bitch would leave the table and she'd be like, give me advice on how I can like be better and do good things because I'm new to this.
She was so trying
sweet.
She was trying very hard with somebody that was not returning that favor and also was actively saying that like she wasn't that into it. Yeah. So I encouraged her. I was like, you need to be honest with her. If you don't feel like this is going anywhere,
if you're not invested, don't lead her on to believe that you are.
Right. Ugh. So Sugar and her friend group and Bagel Bitch and me and my wife all have dinner plans for a Friday. Mm-hmm. And on a Monday, Bagel Bitch texts Sugar and tells her that she has too much going on in her life and that she wants to end the relationship. Okay. So this is a week before 5 days before the dinner, whatever.
Keynote there. Texts her this.
Texts her.
Text.
Shoots her a little text to let her know instead of calling her or FaceTiming or like.
Or doing it in person. Like a normal human being.
Yeah. Weird behavior. So
like, sorry, hold on. Baby gay, because I've talked about baby gay in the first episode. Baby gay relationship. 7-hour time difference, lives in Missouri. Mm-hmm. We broke up and I waited to talk to her about it face to face because she deserved that much. Yeah. These bitches live, 20 minutes away from each other?
They literally live so close. Yeah.
And you text her?
It's even worse because we found out after the fact that she had told people that she broke up with Sugar in person, which is a lie. But anyways, that's besides the point. She broke up with her in person.
Joe Jonas of you.
Sent me a screenshot of the text that she sent her and then told me that she still wanted to maintain a friendship with Sugar because like everyone agrees Sugar's a good person. We love Sugar. She's amazing.
And we love her friends too.
We love
and
her
like
friends.
It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, and by the way, two of the people at this dinner that we were going to are mutual friends. So they're friends with Sugar. We met them through Sugar, but they're really good friends of me and my wife's now because my wife and one of them do music together.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so there's mutual people at this dinner that like we want to go see. So I didn't even think twice about this dinner. I was just like, okay, whatever. And then Bagel Bitch starts telling me like throughout the week that she thinks she's still going to go to the dinner, but she wants to make sure that Sugar still wants her there. Okay. And that she feels like she's getting mixed messages on if Sugar wants her there or not. And Sugar's like actively telling her, yes, I want you there. And Bagel Bitch is like, I don't know, the vibe feels weird. I'm probably going to go, but I'm not sure. This was on Wednesday that I'm hearing that she's probably still going to go. I had plans with Bagel Bitch to take her out to dinner because she was going through some things personally and I wanted to get her mind off of it on Thursday before the dinner.
Yeah.
She texted me a couple hours before cancels.
Yeah.
And then, and I was not like feeling any type of way about that. I was like, if you need to stay in, I'm one of those friends that's like, if you can't make it to something, I'm never going to be mad at you. Like, that's fine. If your mental health needs like literally whatever, that's fine. So I didn't think anything about it. And so I texted her, I'm like, that's totally fine. Like, let us know if we can do anything for you. And just to preface too, throughout the week, I had been telling her that if she needed space from Sugar for a while to get over the breakup,
take it.
Then take it. And that I would not invite Sugar and her to the same things.
Yeah.
I was like, I will keep those friendships separate for a while if you guys both need space to heal. For example, we were having like a photo shoot for Valentine's Day coming up. And I said, if you don't want her there, I'll have a conversation with her about it and let her know that like we need to not have these things together.
We can do separate ones if we need to with friends. That's very like, I feel like that's very thoughtful of you.
I was trying my best. But I also am just like...
in a scenario where you're stuck in the middle.
Honestly, Sugar was the one who was more hurt by everything because she was the one broken up with and like over text. So I'm like, if anything, like Sugar was the one who had a right to be like, I need space from this. And she did. She said that. She wanted space, but she was fine with her being at the dinner. So anyways, an hour before the dinner, I get a text message from Bagel Bitch. Me, my wife, and another mutual friend in the group chat. And she's like, I am super uncomfortable that Sugar is trying to merge our friend groups. If I can be honest, I don't want to overstep, but it just feels weird to me, blah, blah, blah. And me and my wife are both like, no worries. We don't need to merge the friend groups. Again, like we said, if you want to do things separate from Sugar, like we can keep them separate. No worries. Mm-hmm. And then she didn't respond. Mm-hmm. And then I followed up with a text saying like, and again, if you change your mind about wanting to go tonight, like let us know, you can come out. Cause I didn't want her to be like alone at home and then get FOMO and then feel like she couldn't come out.
Yeah.
Like that was why I texted her.
Yeah.
She responds very passive aggressively and is like, she's like, going to dinner with someone I just broke up with sounds like the worst way to spend my Friday night. I would have rather had time with my friends, but y'all have fun. And I'm like, if there's one thing I don't do, it's passive aggressiveness. I don't do that. You're either going to tell me how you feel or you're going to shut the fuck up. And I found out that like the previous night, she had been texting our mutual friend saying that she didn't want us to go to the dinner. So
but never told you.
But never told me that. No. Well. Never told me. She didn't.
Can't read mine.
She didn't let me in. So then I texted her and I said, I'm really sorry if your feelings are hurt about this. Like, I didn't know. Again, like I would have canceled, but like it's an hour before now. And that's extremely rude to cancel on somebody an hour before. Like, I did not know that you wanted to hang out. If you had said you wanted to hang out, we would have hung out.
Or if you had told me you were uncomfortable, we would have maybe rescheduled or said, hey, let's do a different night or something. There
were so many solutions to this problem that were not used because she, again, didn't express her real feelings. And I, again, like now I'm thinking about it and I know that like, I think that she just wanted to get out of the friendship. Like, I don't know why exactly, but I feel like she was self-sabotaging subconsciously.
Oh, probably. And I know she was going through a lot at that time. It's still not okay to do this.
Never okay. So anyway, so I text her. She texted me the next morning an extremely aggressive message and saying I chose sides and like fuck me basically, and that she doesn't trust me and my wife and doesn't want to be around us anymore because like she can't like trust us with her feelings and like blah, blah, blah. And I basically was like, hey, queen, feelings are valid. Behavior is not. So this behavior is like not okay.
That. Feelings are valid. Behavior is not. I like that.
I said that to her.
I'm going to put that in my pocket.
I was like, I'm here for you as a friend, but not as a punching bag. And that's the mentality I take with everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I will absolutely be here for you. But if you're going to project your insecurity onto me or think that you can control me in a way I don't even let my partners do, no. Period. And then I said, if you want to have a conversation about this in person, I'm totally open to that. Talking about like how you would feel comfortable moving forward. Let me know.
Yeah.
Never responded. Anyways, so we go our separate ways for what I think is going to be eternity. Because she just doesn't respond. Yeah, she just didn't respond.
To you.
And she's a very avoidant person. So I was like, okay, whatever. Months later, after like, I don't hear anything, I remove her from social media. I'm done. Like I'm literally like fine with it being over.
Well, we had a conversation. This is where my shit came in.
Yes.
So I remember you being like, I don't understand this. Like, we've been best friends for 2 years. She just ghosted out of nowhere, isn't communicating. I don't understand.
But meanwhile, is talking shit to our mutual friends.
And talking shit to a mutual friend because she's been being a jerk. And I remember you asked me, you were like, this came out of left field. Like, I don't understand. And I was like, well, I haven't said anything the past couple of years as you guys been friends. But I remember when we first met, I remembered her, but I couldn't quite place her. Mm-hmm. Like, we've met at some point in our lives, or like we've been in the same environment. And I remember like months and months going by, and finally, like I was going through a storage unit and I came across my yearbooks, and I was going through my yearbooks and I was like, oh, that's where it is. We went to high school with each other. And I realized who she was because she looks a little bit different. That's fine. Don't care about that. But we've grown. It's not a big deal. But I remember being like, oh, that's who it is. And I had talked to you about it because I was like, it's been eons. Mm-hmm. The reasoning why I didn't bring it up is because it's been eons. Yeah. And I believe that people grow and change and like whatever. But during that time frame, she was a year ahead of me in my school. And earlier on, she was involved with a pretty nasty group of girls. Yeah. Which I've since learned also bullied the hell out of her. Yeah. But she was friends with a nasty group of girls and then moved into another group of girls who some were nice, which I'm still friends with some of those people as well. Mm-hmm. But other ones, not so much. Like you can go from nasty to still not the nicest group, but they could be a step up and you consider them nicer, especially if they're nice to you. Yeah. Right. I've talked about this in season 1 about the time when I had the rumor go around school that I got jumped in the bathroom because of the rumor that perpetuated and like shared with. This was the same group of people that bullied the hell out of me for a rumor, which turned out to be pretty true, but not at the time. Yeah. Right. In no way, shape, or form have I ever said that she was one of the people that attacked or that I have any knowledge that she had ever perpetuated that rumor. All I've said is that she was friends with the people who were. Mm-hmm. And so you would ask me, you're like, I don't get it. And I was like, hey, this was my experience in high school. Mm-hmm. This was the reputation that was there. This was the behavior that she was around. Maybe she hasn't grown out of it. Yeah. I was like, but that is speculation. With all of my experience, and also she could have grown as a human. I don't know her well enough. Well, that was why you didn't say anything to me, that's why I didn't say anything. Giving her the benefit of the doubt. I gave the benefit of the doubt, and also you were very close to her, and I'm not going to be like, hey, here's something that happened 15 years ago. Yeah. Like, not a big deal. Yeah. What? Well, I was just going to say, so that kind of sums up, like, I think that we realized that that is the type of person that she is. That was the type of person that she is, and then at some point down the line, I get a slew of messages from her via Snapchat, which on Snapchat, like you can see when somebody sees a message. And that night I was out with my wife. We were having a good time. I was a few drinks in. I am not somebody to respond when I am drunk because I'm not going to have that emotional like spillage. I'm going to have a conversation. Yeah. But the thing is, the messages were not even kind to start with. Not like a, hey, this has come to my attention. It was attacking you. It was full blown like, you like, how dare you like name me as your bully? Never did that. How dare you use my TBI, a traumatic brain injury, against me? Like, I had memory loss in high school, but I wouldn't have forgotten that, which I didn't even fucking know that she had one of those, just so you know. Like, I had never known that. It had never been brought to my attention. So obviously I wasn't using that. And I also, out of context, like I wasn't being like, oh, she's a bully, you shouldn't be friends. I was like, hey, this is my experience.
Yeah.
We talked about it in a setting. And like I read that message and I was like, oh, okay, I'll address this tomorrow because I'm drunk. Like I'm not going to open that door right now. Obviously she saw that I saw it, screenshots the message because it tells you when it screenshots. She screenshotted the message and then sends another one, even more attacking. Like you're reading my stuff, blah, 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 blah. Attack.
Fucking psycho.
Obviously I read that. She screenshots that I read it and then proceeds to text me a message probably about that long, just berating me and going off and that I better come with proof and receipts of all of this from stuff from like 15 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Like da-da-da, just going and going and going and going and going. And I talked to another person. I'm just like, hey, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I remember texting you and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? I will say this. I have never addressed that conversation. I chose not to open that door.
And you didn't have to.
I didn't have to because she was dredging up my trauma.
Yep.
In that moment. And here's the thing. Had she approached me with, hey, this has come to my attention. This is kind of upsetting me and I'd really like to have a conversation about it so I can understand where it's coming from. And maybe we can find a mutual thing. And I'm really sorry that like that happened to you. But like, I hope you know, like I wasn't a part of it. I would have been more than happy to have a conversation and just keep it that. Because she never really tried to like be friends with me. And I didn't like feel the need to be friends. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
But like we were acquaintances essentially. But like if she had done that, I would have been open. If she had just been able to communicate, which that seems to be the theme of this one. Is
she won't communicate.
Very deep lack of communication.
Yeah.
She had texted me the next day where she basically did that. But the thing is, at that point, it's too late. Yeah. You laid into me. You brought up my trauma. I get to decide whether or not I even want to open the door. And to me, we weren't even friends. It's not worth the effort to me.
Yeah.
It's just not.
And with that, we are going to cliffhanger you guys. And we are going to wrap it up right here.
We're edging you.
We're edging you. We're going to wrap it up, you know? We don't wrap things up. We're lesbians.
It's time for Spicy Trauma.
Each week, we like to wrap up with our spicy trauma.
Tell us your spicy trauma. DM us or use the link in our bio to share your story. So recently, this is recent, I went and did a little bit of grocery shopping at the good old Tom Thumb. And okay, so I don't know if everybody, wherever listeners are, what the scenario is, but in the South, in my area, I've always been used to like kids that are collecting money for like their basketball teams. And like half the time it's not for an actual basketball team. They're just trying to like make a buck.
Right.
And sometimes it is for a basketball team. So this kid approaches me in the parking lot and he's like, oh, hey, like I'm part of this basketball team. We're one of the best ones in the region. Like we're doing a fundraiser, blah, 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 blah. It's a great community where they also have us go to these classes. So we feel more comfortable approaching people. Like, cool. And I'm like, sorry, bud, I don't have any cash. If you let me go do my shopping, like I can always pull some out and bring some back out to you. But like, whatever. And he's like, oh, okay, no worries. Like, cool. And he goes on his merry way. And I go in and do my shopping. And I'm in and out pretty quick. I come out and this kid is still standing outside the door. And like, people are passing him. He hasn't talked to a single one of them that's coming in or out.
He's just waiting.
He's just standing there. And he sees me and he does like the double clock and approaches me. And I'm like, wait, like you already talked to me and you didn't just talk to any of those other people, but like, okay, whatever. Maybe he was waiting for me and thought I was going to like bring him out a 20, whatever. And I'm like, oh, hey, bud, like we just talked, like whatever. And he was like, yeah, I know. He goes, so you and girl? I said, what? Yeah. Hold on one more time for me because I do not understand what you're saying. And he was like, you got a boyfriend?
Oh, no.
And I said...
How old is he, like 12?
We'll get there.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, no, bud, I got a wife.
Yeah.
Standard answer. I've got a wife. Gay. And he goes, oh, shit. Can I get your Snapchat? And that was the reaction. Your reaction right there, the whole like was the exact reaction I had. And I went, no. And I said, can you tell me how old you are for a second?
Yeah. And
he was like, I'm 18, which probably is a lie.
I think he was like probably 16, just trying to sound legal.
At least legal.
Yeah.
I'm 18. And I said, oh, honey, 1, wrong team. 2, I am way too old for you. No. And I walked to my car, which I'm like, he's over here talking about how he's in classes to like approach people, but he has the balls, the cojones to actually ask that.
Yeah.
And then double down and ask for Snapchat because, oh, she's gay.
She's gay. So it's not actually real.
But also,
not a real wife.
But also, like, why are men? But like, there's always a man, right? We were talking about this earlier. There's always a man who's saying some shit. And I'm like, they're starting early.
They're starting
early.
They literally are.
So like, kudos for him having like the gumption to say I'm interested, but also like the double down, but also let's not perpetuate that you should double down when somebody tells you they're gay.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Please.
I mean, I don't think we have any 18-year-old boys listening to our podcast. Hopefully.
Maybe, even if you are, don't double down. Don't be weird.
Yeah.
That's creepy. Learn early.
Speaking of double down and men, my spicy trauma also involves a man. And as usual. So I go to the strip club a couple weeks ago with some friends of mine. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of like their first times at a strip club. And Cute. So we went to a really nice establishment. We went to an expensive gentleman's club, you know? And we're just sitting there, like, minding our own business. It's a group of probably, like, 6 or 7 girls. And we have, like, these 2 tables. So we're all just, like, in this circle facing each other, like, eating our fucking French fries and drinking our drinks and getting, you know, dances with strippers. Like, it was amazing. It was heaven for a second. And all of a sudden, we have this fucking broke neck Bill come over. And he literally looked like he had been working construction all day. I don't know how else to say it.
Hey now, I love my blue collar workers.
I love them too. As long as they don't approach our table.
You know my partner is one.
I know you love your hardworking boys.
I do.
So yeah, it's this hardworking boy came over and he literally comes out and he grabs a wad of cash and he puts it out to us. And
free money? Thank you.
My wife is sitting here, and then my friend, Sugar was there. Sugar's here. I'm sitting here, and all the other girls are over here. And my wife is like, what's this? And he's like, just thought I would, like, you know, help you guys out. Like, if y'all want to, like, tip the strippers, whatever. So we're like, okay, thank you. Like,
free money.
Take the money from him. And then he's like, so what are y'all doing here? And my friend Sugar was like, we're doing the exact thing that you're doing here. We're hanging out, watching the women.
Atta girl.
And my wife was like, yeah, we're all gay. Like, we're all lesbians.
Because you are.
So, like, exactly. The whole group is gay. And he was like, what? He was like, no. And we were like, yeah, we're all gay. Like,
he pulled the whole,
we're doing the exact thing that you're doing. He did even worse. He was like, he was like, well, I don't really get it. You know, I don't really understand. And I was like, all right, I'm going to explain it to you really simply. I was like, do you like dick? Do you like men? And he was like, no. And I was like, are you sure? Mm-hmm. And he was like, no. And I was like, that's how we feel. Thank you. Have a good night. Mm-hmm. Like, that was it. And he was like, well, have you ever been with a man before? Maybe you just hadn't had the right one. And he was like, you know, I just don't think, and I was like, we're done here. And my sister-in-law chimes in because she was there. She was like, now is not the time for education. If you don't understand being a lesbian, Google it. Yes! I was like, I love
you. Okay.
Now is not the time. And he was like, starts mumbling on about like, well, what if you need a man to help you and you're like lifting weights, and like, what if a woman doesn't know the size of the weight rack? Like, literally goes on this whole spiel about like being a gym rat and how that doesn't make sense as a lesbian.
Find a masked lesbian or someone like me who has lots of tools and tool belts. And
I also am just like, dude, what the fuck? Do any of us look like we're CrossFit girlies? Like, I don't know why you think we give a fuck.
Even if we were, we don't necessarily need a man to be there.
No. And I was just like, so I was like, okay, I was like, you're done. Like, you need to go. And he was like, he literally bends down. Mm-mm. He's eye level with me.
Oh,
and he's right in front of my face. And he's staring into my eyes. And I'm just staring back at him. And I can tell he's trying to intimidate me. My wife is sitting right here. my wife gets up and stands over him, and he stands up, and then he has the audacity to put his hand on their hip like this.
Ooh, that's
and I was like, get your fucking hands off of them right now. And he was like, I wasn't touching them. I was like, you need to get the fuck out. My wife was like, it's time to go. And he was like, all good. And Sugar was like, here's your money back. And he was like, no, y'all can keep it. And we were like, okay, great. We'll keep your money. And
reparations.
Yeah, reparations. Literally for the you literally should pay us for the trauma that we just experienced. Oh. And then he was like, puts his fist out to fist bump me. And I was like, no. I was like, you're not going to sit here and seek my approval. You need to go.
So you need some jujitsu in your life.
Yeah, literally. And he was like, wow. Like, so just like, I was like, dude. So my wife gets up, takes all the money that he just gave us, goes to the nearest stripper and goes, here you go. Gives it to all of the strippers. Yeah. And like right in front of him, and he just walks away, and we like left, and he was sitting on the curb by himself, like outside, just waiting for an Uber or something. But I was just like, do not accost women in a strip club, please. Like, sometimes we're just there.
Period. Just don't accost women. It's not hard.
Yeah. But I loved the energy of like 7 against 1. It was great.
That was good.
Yeah.
Everybody had something to say, and I love that.
Yeah, my sister-in-law really came through.
Love her.
Now is not the time for education. I'm going to start using that.
Yeah.
Now is not the time. We're trying to have fun. Shut up. Go away.
No, that was good. That's good. Those were good ones. Those were fun. Yeah. Well, that's spicy trauma. If you have your own, please DM us. We would love to hear yours. We'd love to share it, always anonymously. So we like to have a good time with the crazy shit that happens in people's lives.
We do.
Something outside of the own crazy shit that happens in our own lives. Yeah. But be good. Or don't.
We're not being good in season 2.
No, we won't.
My wife told me to be good when they left today before we were recording. I was like, I'm recording the podcast today. I'm not going to.
Whenever Jen says that, she goes, be good. And I said, shan't. Nope. That's my word. Nope.
Don't think so.
So we won't. We love you.
We won't. Bye.
Wow.
If you liked today's episode, follow us on social media at Trauma Bondage Pod. Follow Beth at Modern Day Lilith and Bridget at Your Fae Femme.
If voyeurism is your kink, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trauma Bondage Podcast. Production by Instrumental Media. Special thanks to D. Dumpy and Wolfstar for music.